is something that could be addressed to the developers. And if you wish to know what the total parking capacity is, we will make that information available.
Well, my request is if you can ask that. You ask for gems and something is part of the settlement agreement. I would ask that you do that. I also ask, is the settlement agreement contingent upon the city's approval of the construction plan? Or will the settlement agreement occur and then the city later approves the construction plan, where there will be no lane closure at all?
The settlement agreement provides that if they are going to build, that they build in accordance with the terms of settlement. They have to go through the permitting process like any other developer. No permits have been issued. They have to comply with all laws, all ordinances. If they don't, then they won't be issued a permit. Period.
So will the settlement be signed before then or after?
No, the settlement is signed. The question...
So we are here to discuss what then if it was already signed?
About the best way to deal with this moving forward.
Because I thought I heard the mayor say she was here for gems, and I just asked about parking, but I guess it's already signed.
Mr. Adler's here. We're going to, you know, it's going to be an arranged marriage or a forced marriage, but we're going to be in bed with these guys for a long time, to be frank. They have, we have a very adversarial relationship with them. We are doing our best to figure out a way to have a working relationship with them because the project has been permitted since 2009. We are still trying to mitigate it. I think your solution or your suggestion has merit. Mr. Adler has heard it. He's also heard Ms. Tubia's suggestion as to putting a price on the land and whether that can go forward. We're not going to stop the conversation with the developer. I can't compel anybody to be here.
All right.
Yes, they are not Houstonians. They live in Westview.
Mayor?
Or Southside?
Yeah. Hi,
Southside?
Mayor.
Okay. Back over here.
Melinda Stubbs and my husband, Sam Stubbs. I'm Grant Martin's sister. How are you?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, I have one thing to say and one question for you. My parents years ago built a home 2 blocks down on Roxton. I live in the 2000 block. They live in the 1800 block. So that our autistic son could walk to and from their house several times a week to visit. Because everyone and their dog will be racing down our street to avoid the traffic on Bissonnet from 268 apartments. The streets will not be safe for my child or anyone else's children. This will change our lives forever, and it will change our son's life forever. How are you going to protect our kids during construction and after construction for the rest of the time that they live in Southampton?
I wouldn't be mayor without your brother. And I'm going to see him tomorrow. And I care just as much about your child as I do about the children all across the city of Houston. We have an obligation to follow the rule of law. We have used every tool in our toolbox to get us to this point. Going forward, what we consider the best option is a productive dialogue and continued negotiations. As Mr. Feldman indicated, we don't stop the conversation tonight. Yeah, my attorney is gonna probably turn around and pop me here in a minute because I'm standing here in front of the cameras and so forth. Any project can be made to follow every tiny jot and tittle in an ordinance. And it can be excruciating to get that project done. The leverage that we have left is the fact that if this project proceeds, and I am still not convinced that they're going to be able to get their financing for this project, but if this project proceeds under either the 2009 plan, the current plan, and I think this is a better plan, it can We can work with them they can be responsive to neighborhood concerns and issues, or they can continue the way they have been, where they have given absolutely no consideration whatsoever of the neighborhood. We believe that it is now in their best interest to work with the city to try to execute this plan in a productive manner.
Mayor, this is Sam Stubbs, Melinda's husband. I see here a group of people from 3 of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. We keep talking about the neighborhood as if it's one. It's actually 3 kind of bunched together. And they're all 1- and 2-story homes. And they're all full of families. And they're all full of people that have lived there all their lives. These neighborhoods have been there for 100 years. By happenstance, 1.6 acres has been carved out. It used to be a U-totem. Now it's a small apartment complex. And somebody wants to follow the letter of the law and build a 22 3-story building. Everybody knows it's stupid, except for the buckheads. The buckheads don't get it, and their lawyer doesn't get it. And they think that it's perfectly acceptable to sue the city for $40 million, bring it to its knees to enforce the letter of the law. Is this not the largest city in the United States in terms of acreage?
Yes.
I ask you that because is it Oklahoma City or is it us?
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
City.
All right, we're second, are we not, in acreage? Because the city has the right of eminent domain. And when it sees 1.6 acres that it really needs for a park, can't it get that park? And then at that point, when you get that park, aren't we just talking about the value of that 1.6 acres? That's all I have.
I assume that was a rhetorical question.
My name's Tom Leffler. I'm a Southampton resident. I'd like to address 3 things. Number 1, the traffic. First of all, the traffic assessments are utter nonsense, but let's say that they are correct. If they're correct, does that mean we've maxed out on traffic and it'd be impossible to build any larger structures along Bissonnette in the future? Number 2, property values. Is this a part of your campaign to draw business to Houston to say, yes, our property values are lower than the rest of the country, come here and put your business here, just ignore the fact that your property value will go down? Number 3, can we sue the Buckheads for lowering our property values? And finally, on a happier note, I'd like to thank you and all the people in the government for getting us an inch and giving them a mile.
Sir.
Madam Mayor, Jim Key. I live in the neighborhood. Ashby is my route back and forth every morning and evening to the Methodist Hospital. If I got a call from one of our residents tonight, it would be my route to the emergency room. So my question was going to be about traffic, but it's been addressed, although I must say these traffic studies kind of remind me of that old Groucho Marx line, who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes? And you know, I'm surprised that the Museum of Fine Arts and our other fine museums haven't weighed in on this. When the museum has a special members preview at 5 and 5:30 in the afternoon, Bissonnette is backed up beyond the Shepherd Park. It's going to certainly affect things that go on in the museum district as well. There's no other good east-west street to get into the museum. So I guess I don't have a question. I will say this, though, as I stood in line, I've been able to reflect on the thousands of years of received wisdom that is in these Torahs, in these pews, and the virtue and the commandment of leading a righteous life, which trumps all the rules that the Buckheads are hiding behind. if they were righteous, and if they, well, I shouldn't say no one's righteous, that'd be a sin on my part, but the quid pro quo in a city without zoning has been that developers understand that they can go only so far. And most of our developers, I'll say most of our developers over the years have done that. I grew up here and seen this city grow. I'm very disappointed in Matthew and Kevin, both of whom I know personally and have told them so to their face, in building and pushing forward with this project. And I just hope we can make it, as you say, not unlawful, but as difficult to proceed as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Len Lednicki, and I've been a resident here for about 10 years. I have a quick question of clarification, and then I think I have a request. I remain confused. Your letter suggested that there would be a discussion of a pending settlement. Mr. Feldman just said that it's signed, and I'd like to know which it is.
Settlement's right here. I have signed the settlement. It has not been filed.
Okay. Then my request would be this. I think you understand that, well, let me start this way. I think we understand you have made a judgment.
Sir.
I think you understand that everyone in the audience, with the exception of 2, disagree with that judgment.
You mean there's a second one here that it might agree with me?
I assume Mr. Adler has an accomplice.
Okay. Okay.
Now, my request would be this. Before the settlement is filed, I think you should rethink the cost and the consequences of that settlement. What Mr. Adler clearly said, Mr. Feldman almost said, was that this settlement is worth far more to the Buckheads than to the city. We have, in fact, been successful for 5 years. We have stalled this project. It's in the ditch. They can't move forward. If they could have moved forward, they would have on the 2009 project, on any form that they think they can get. But they're stuck, and what they need is the city to sign off. Because once you sign off on the settlement, you're saying, yep, that's what's going to be built. And in fact, that's the recurrent theme that we've heard from tonight. I've been shocked at the degree of self-fulfilling prophecy. It's going to be built, we have to do something. It's going to be built, we have to do something. So I think in light of all of the perspective damage that you suggest fixing after the fact, if that were possible, you reconsider the wisdom, because I contend that the settlement is worth far more to the Buckheads and greatly increases the chances of the project actually being built than not.
Noted.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been extremely patient and respectful, but I do have to say we've been able to
I'm
extend
the
it.
oldest person here. Can I just?
Yeah. No, I'm not cutting you off. I'm not cutting you off. I just want to say we've been able to extend it for for another 15 minutes. And I also wanted to say that there's a sign-up sheet in the back for people who want to get copies of the settlement. So we do have 15 minutes if people can just make it really tight.
Thank you.
Actually, I think they've just turned the air conditioning off. I think.
I'm Earl Martin. I live at 1811 with my wife, Christy Roxton, and my daughter who just spoke. Her autistic son is my autistic grandson, and I'm frightened to death. And as I've been waiting in this line, it's really been productive because I keep looking around, and I've been reading, do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with thy God, and ye shall be a light unto the nations. And I think one of the biggest problems here is the people we're dealing with, the Buckheads. We don't trust. And I have 2 questions. One, I hear tonight various questions that have been asked. Can this be enforced? Can that be enforced? Well, if they violate, then we'll go after them. First question. Because of the bad faith I think they have shown in this settlement, can you specify anything that comes up will be handled
in the prescribed way to protect this neighborhood.